Hey guys, what's up? My name is Emily Kern and I am a professional photographer located in northern New Jersey. On today's episode of Shoot More, I'm going to go over cameras, and everything I talk about today is solely my opinion, and I don't want to hear any debates about, Canon or Nikon or Sony or whatever type of system you use. This is just my personal opinion. So with that, I guess let's get started. So you're probably wondering why I have these two particular cameras in front of me right now. Well, this one right here is my camera that I use right now for my photography business. It's a Nikon full frame camera. I've been using it for about a year now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's been about a year now. I love this camera. It's a huge step up from what I was shooting with, and it takes great photos, honestly. It's good quality. It's a full frame camera. It's got a good lens on it. It's a little bit more like beefier than what my old camera was, and I love that. And it has the screen that flips up so you can see, or down. But yeah, I do love this camera. This camera is a big difference than this camera. First of all, size-wise, if you look at the two of them. And this one's a lot lighter than what this one is, because this one is pretty heavy. And this is a Kodak camera, which I don't even know if Kodak still makes cameras. Honestly, I think they do. But the funny thing is, this is a Kodak EasyShare CX6330. It's just a little point and shoot. It's got a teeny tiny little screen, and I think this is the memory card slot. Yeah, little memory card slot. Then in the bottom it takes a battery. Oh, I don't even know what the heck just fell out of this. I haven't used this camera in I don't know how long. Years, at least 10 years. It's also 3.1 megapixels, which is hilarious because most smartphones now are 100 times better than what this camera can shoot. And it had 4 modes, portrait, landscape, flower, and motion or sport. And then it filmed, but I don't think it recorded sound. I could be wrong. But again, it's been a very long time since I've used this camera. The reason why I have this camera in front of me today, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about this camera than this camera. I'll do a legit review or a Q&A later on this bad boy. This was my first camera ever. And I know it's kind of silly because it's not really a camera. It's not a film camera. It doesn't have a detachable lens. It's a point and shoot. So it's kind of pathetic when you think about it, and it's really beat up. I took this thing everywhere. The around the lens is all chipping, and it's really beat up. I got really good use out of it. But the reason why I want to focus on this camera today is because it is my first camera, like I said. Today's episode isn't really about a camera review. I'm not gonna review this thing and the specs because honestly, compared to most smartphones, and I say smartphones and not cameras, is because most smartphones are leaps ahead of this. But this camera is still really special to me, and as you can see, I still have it, even though I probably would never use it. It's because it's my first camera and it means a lot to me. I went down to visit my grandparents in Florida shortly after they had moved to Florida, and I was pretty young, and it was my first time on an airplane, and it was a trip just my mom and I took to visit them. And I remember once I got down there, I unpacked all of my stuff, and we were kind of hanging out, and my grandparents wanted to take a picture. So my grandfather had me pose with my grandma, and he took my picture, and that wasn't out of the ordinary for me because they were really into photography, and they were actually professional photographers. They had all kinds of camera equipment. They've shot weddings before. They always had a camera, whether it was filming or taking pictures, and that's part of the reason why I became a photographer, because it's amazing to look back on those memories and see all of the footage and the photos that were taken. So after he took the photo, he came over and he was showing me on this teeny tiny little viewfinder, this little screen here. he was like, oh, do you like this photo? And like checking in. I was like, yeah. I was like, you know, that's pretty neat. It takes good photos back then. And he said, oh, you think it takes good photos? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, good, because it's yours. And I was kind of like surprised and caught off guard because I didn't know what he meant, like by it's yours. But basically my grandparents had bought me this camera for my first like trip or like vacation on an airplane down to Florida to visit them, because I like taking pictures, and I had those little disposable cameras you get at like CVS or something, or like drug fair, and you'd like, you know, crank it up and you take a picture, and then you'd go get it developed, and it was so much fun. And you know, it stung kind of having to wait for it, but I was just so excited when he said, oh, it's your camera. I was surprised, but then I was really excited because it was mine. It was my first camera. I took pictures of everything. The whole rest of the week we were down in Florida, I'm pretty sure I shot like 1,000 photos. And it was the most ridiculous stuff. It was like the driveway, a blade of grass, you know. I think we went to the Kennedy Space Center. I think we went to like Disney World or something. It was a really cool trip, but I was able to document it through my eyes and what I saw. And that really means a lot to me because it was a gift, and it was from my grandparents, who I love dearly, and they were into photography too. So it was kind of like they were passing the torch, kind of, in a way. But that's one of the reasons why I won't get rid of this camera ever, even though I don't have a charger for it. The battery might even be shot. I don't know. But it's my first camera, and I don't think I will ever get rid of it because it means a lot to me. And it's also kind of funny to look back and see how far cameras have come, because a newer camera on today's market compared to this is like laughable. But from that vacation on, that point in my life, my love for photography just grew and grew and grew. And since then, I've shot on all kinds of cameras, whether they're point and shoots, they're film cameras, they're Polaroid cameras, they're DSLR cameras, or even my iPhone, because my iPhone now takes incredible pictures, and it's ridiculous. Between them releasing the Apple ProRes or whatever, which is like Apple's like RAW format, and then editing in like Lightroom Mobile, like some of the photos you wouldn't even be able to tell whether it was an iPhone or a professional camera. Back in 2013 or 14, whenever I started Emily Kern Photography, I started on like an entry-level DSLR that was like a couple $100 maybe, and it was good, but it wasn't great. I mean, it was a lot better than this camera. But now, for my photo sessions and anything I shoot with, I use my Nikon DSLR, which is a full-frame camera, and it was about $2,000. So it's a big step up. One of my favorite photography jokes that always makes me laugh is when someone sees a photo of mine and says, "Oh wow, your camera takes really good photos." And then I kind of chuckle and say, "Oh yeah, thanks, I taught it everything it knows." Basically meaning that yes, the quality of the camera may be amazing, but it really depends on the creativity of the person who's holding the camera. The camera doesn't do all of the work. Yeah, you could get like a $7,000 camera and a $2,000 lens, but I've seen some amazing photographers take amazing photos on like the crappiest camera. So it's not all about your equipment. It's about your passion for it. It's about your creativity and the angle you view things, or your perspective, or anything like that. It's not always about the camera. Because like I said, there have been some amazing photos that were taken on the crappiest cameras, or they're even doing iPhone photography nowadays, which is crazy. On today's episode, I thought it would be fun to play a little game. So basically, I'm going to show you a photo, and you guys are going to have to decide whether I shot it on an iPhone or whether I shot it on a DSLR professional camera. You're probably thinking, that's way too easy, Emily, but you'd be surprised. So this photo was taken in 2016, and it was right after a major snowstorm. After the roads cleared somewhat, I decided to venture out and take some pictures at this park or reservation or whatever. They have this really cool bridge that looks awesome any time of the year, but especially in the snow. So I thought I would snap this picture quick. And actually, this was shot on an iPhone. Since it was 2016, I honestly have no idea what iPhone it was. It could have been like the 6 or 7 or 8. I don't know. I've had pretty much every iPhone since like the iPhone 3GS, so I have a hard time tracking which iPhone I had at which time, but I know it was shot on an iPhone. Okay, this next photo was actually taken in Hawley, Pennsylvania at Lake Wallenpaupack, which is one of my favorite places on earth. And I know there's no lake in the picture, but the lake is literally right behind this walking path. And I actually took this photo last year in 2020, towards the end of the year. We went in November, October, November, because you can tell it's fall in the photo and there's some leaves and whatnot on the ground and some really nice color. But this photo was taken on my DSLR. This next photo was taken in 2018, I believe. I went on vacation with my best friend and her aunt and uncle. We went to Rockport, Massachusetts, and this little building right here, this like fisherman's building or whatever, I don't know what it's, shack, I don't know what it's called, is one of the most famous painted buildings, I think. I don't know. I'll correct myself in the video when I edit it if I'm wrong, but I just thought that this was a really cool picture. And the color between like the red building and then like the water and then the blue sky was gorgeous that day with the clouds and everything. And this was actually shot on an iPhone. All right, and then this next photo I took just last year again in 2020, I believe September. This is up at the Sussex County Sunflower Maze. And I try to go to the Sunflower Maze at least every year because it's gorgeous. Between all of the flowers, and I try to go later in like the daytime, so it's just about sunset. It's like golden hour, which is my favorite time to shoot. But this was a cool picture because the sun was just beginning to set and the flag, it wasn't super windy, so the flag was kind of still, and then with the sunflowers behind it, I just thought it was a really cool photo. And this one I actually took on my iPhone. I have my computer over here. I'm not just like staring at a wall or something. I'm looking at the photos as you guys are looking at the photos too. But this next photo I took in November of 2020, so just last year. And this is my dog, Elvis. He is very majestic. He is a mix of a Corgi and a Golden Retriever, even though I think he looks more lab than Golden Retriever. But that is Elvis. He is my main man, and he's super cute. And he is also a really good sport for putting up with me taking pictures of him constantly. So this photo was actually taken on my DSLR. This next photo is of my family's barbecue sauce that we make from scratch. And I got a little out of hand one day and decided to buy in bulk mason jars and labels that I designed myself. So that is our homemade barbecue sauce that we've been making since like 1969, I think. I could be wrong, but this was taken last year in 2020 over the summer. The grass was really green, and I had started an Instagram and a Facebook page for the barbecue sauce brand, and I needed some like promotional photos. So I went out in the backyard and took some photos, and that is my hand holding the barbecue sauce. It's super yummy. If you guys want to try it, let me know. But this one was taken on my iPhone. I'm telling you, iPhones have come such a long way. I remember the first iPhone, whenever you took a photo, it looked like a potato took it. But nowadays, iPhones are getting up there, I'm telling you. This next photo was taken last year in 2020, again in November. It was the same trip from the photo a couple photos ago by the lake, the fall path photo. This one was at the Three Hammers Winery. And this is also a really cool winery that we go to every time we go out to Lake Wallenpaupack. Just my favorite area in general. I just love the scenery. I love Pennsylvania. The lake is gorgeous. And one of my best friends has a lake house out there that we always go and stay at. And it's honestly one of my favorite vacations. It's like an hour and a half away, not too crazy, but it is one of my favorite places to go. And this one was taken on my DSLR. I thought this truck was really, really cool because I like the teal color with the wine barrels in the back, and then the really cool fall foliage in the background really rounds out the photo because Fun fact, I absolutely love autumn. It is my favorite time of year because the weather is great, the colors are great, and I'm a photographer, so I love taking photos of the fall foliage. And then this last photo here was taken over the summer last year in 2020. This is my niece Madigan that I talked about in my first video. This was my first niece. She's 6 now, which is crazy. It's unbelievable how old she is. But she came over pretty much every day during the summer to go swimming. She's like a little fish. She's really good at it. And this was taken on my iPhone. I just love the way that her bathing suit and like the color of her skin pops against like the bright crystal blue water. So I thought this was a really cool photo. But yeah, it was taken on my iPhone. So how did you guys do? Did you get some wrong? Did you get them all right? Did you get them all wrong? Let me know in the comments below. So basically what I'm trying to say is that you don't have to go out and buy the most expensive camera that's on the market right now. You can start anywhere. You can start with your smartphone. You can go get like a disposable camera at the store. You can even go on like Facebook Marketplace and find like a really cheap entry-level DSLR that's used. As long as it works, you know, try it out. Who knows? I mean, you're more than welcome to go buy the most expensive camera that's out right now. But if you're just starting and getting into photography, start out slow. Get comfortable with it and then build your way up. That's basically what I did, and it helped me improve and become a better photographer because I was constantly shooting with whatever camera I had at the time. But like I said, you don't need to go get the most expensive camera out there, because if you go out and buy like a $7,000 camera but you have no idea how to use it, it's gonna be basically useless. Well, that's pretty much it for today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm glad you guys are liking the videos so far. I'm gonna keep them coming. Hopefully they don't get too boring. But seriously, if you guys have any suggestions or anything you wanna see particularly, then leave them in the comments below and I'll read them. Like I said, I'll try to cover everything that has to do with photography. So let me know if there's anything specific you guys wanna see. Also, make sure that you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you can stay notified for when we post new videos. You can follow us on Instagram. You can check out our website. The stickers are coming very soon. I'm very excited, so keep an eye out for that. And last but not least, don't forget to get out there and shoot more.